Hello guys, good evening. Just check here. See, okay, seems to be working. Hello guys, so we'll wait for a few minutes and wait for our friends to come. Tonight Stephen won't be here as he's working away. He's quite busy guys, so it's gonna be myself only talking today. And today we're gonna keep going talking about the chapter 21 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. There will be false Christs and false prophets. Okay, so let's give you a few more minutes. So if you guys want to say hi, I don't know where you guys are watching from. Maybe Brazil, United States, Ireland. I'm not too sure about the United Kingdom. I'm not sure, but it's nice to have you all here, guys, tonight. So let's just wait a little bit. So here in Dublin, the summer is not really showing up. These days we have a lot of rain. We had a bad weather. Then we got one sunny day yesterday, and today again the weather is bad. But what can you do? Anyway, guys, we're going to start doing our initial prayer. So for those who feel comfortable, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes, to take a deep breath. Let's ask guidance from the good spirits, from the mentors of the Spirit Society of Ireland, who have supported us for over 10 years in Dublin. Let's be thankful for this place that we have, even though we are now only online. At least we are able to still talk to friends and to talk about Spiritism, to talk about the work of Allan Kardec and the Gospel of Jesus. That's a great opportunity. Thanks for the life we have, thanks for the time, and thanks that we have everything that we have. Even if we don't have everything that we want, I'm sure each one of us, we have what's necessary to improve this reincarnation and to become better people. Because God always supports us and guides us. But in the end of the day, we must keep our hearts open to His wisdom and guidance. Thank God, and so be it. Okay, guys, so last week we were talking about chapter 21, which talks about false prophets. And this chapter, we're still going to be talking a little bit about some characteristics of false prophets. But here now in item 9, we spoke a little bit about what are the characteristics of the false prophet. And today we're going to be talking a bit about some characteristics of the true prophet. And then we're going to go back to the false prophets, which is the main part of the chapter. But then we must analyze like this. If I have a company, if I'm going to hire someone, that person will bring their CV. Then let's say if there was no COVID, let's say we were all back in the office 100%, I would meet that person for an interview. So that person will say something to me. So once we are talking about prophets, we have to understand that a lot of things that we apply, let's say in our work, let's say that we're going to be listening to this candidate, we're going to be seeing their actions, their body language and stuff like this. We may apply also once you're talking about false prophets. Let me try to explain. It's like this. If I'm saying that I'm a true prophet, am I acting like one? What are the characteristics of a true prophet? Then here the spirits, they say that it's very common in the times of transition and in the times of difficulty that we have on earth, that many false prophets, they come, they say, hey, I'm here to save you guys. I have the solution of all your problems. I have the solution for all the troubles that you guys are facing. Just follow me. But of course, a lot of times, these ones, they don't ask you only to follow you. They ask you to follow and give something to them. Most of the time, money. But the true prophet is different. Here, as the Spirit, as the Gospel according to the Spirit says to us, that most of the time the true prophet does not say to people, "Hey, I'm here, I'm a prophet." When I mean a prophet, guys, I'm using the word of the Gospel according to Spiritism, but we can say, "I'm a good worker," or "I'm a good person who is willing to help society. I'm here to try to do my best," and stuff like this. But of course, once we are talking about a prophet here, as the gospel says here to us, that God only gives high missions, very important missions, to the only best soldiers, to the generals, we can put in this way. So he is not going to give, let's say, a mission to a soldier to do something very important, to a soldier to do something very important. He's going to give to a general. The same applies in Spiritism. So if we have, let's say, a mission of bringing certain knowledge to earth, God will not give that mission to myself, to Stephen, or to any of us here, I believe, unless there is any angel here watching us, you know. But most of the time, he's not going to give this kind of mission to us. He's going to give to the Spirit who has already passed it through their expiations and tests. A Spirit who has been proved, who proved himself to be good. So this kind of spirit, once he comes to earth, first, he doesn't know that he's a high evolved spirit. He's not going to say that to people. He doesn't born and say, "Hey, I'm a high evolved spirit." No. We take the case of Saint Francis, for example. When he was born, he didn't know that he was a high evolved spirit, but his actions throughout his life, it started to show not to him, but to those surrounding him, that he was someone special. So a true prophet, according to the spirits, is started to be seen by the others with good eyes, not because of what they say, but because of their actions, because of their work, because of their moral ability to stay still doing what is right. And it's not what is right according to my judgment, but what is right in general for everyone or for a larger amount of people. But of course, good spirits, once they come to earth, once they come with a mission, they start to do that mission without even knowing that they are doing. Again, we take St. Francis. According to, I think, Chico Xavier and Divaldo Franco, they said the mission of Francis once he came to earth was to bring Christianity back on its from its basis, like 1,000 years before, because Saint Francis was born around 1,000 years before. So time of Francis, 1,000 years back. So trying to bring Christianity to the time of Christ, the time of the simplicity, and try to make men of the Middle Ages, which were only thinking about wars, to calm down, to really rethinking about their own ways. So a true prophet here, according to the Gospel according to Spiritism, is one also that more than likely he's never gonna follow only his passions. He's gonna follow logic. He's gonna follow the moral aspect, but also his intelligence. But he's never gonna use one of these two sides only for himself. And he's the one who always gonna be asking himself, the others, of course, but himself also. What am I doing? Is that correct? What am I doing? Is gonna be only for myself, or it's gonna be good for the others also? And sometimes he's gonna doubt, but he's not going to stop. He may waver for a while because he's still incarnated in a physical body. So once he's in a physical body, what happens? We feel the human sensations such as fear. What I'm trying to say, Francis of Assisi felt fear, Kardec felt fear once they were doing their missions, and they were two prophets. Who are saying that they are two prophets? You, Wanderley, who said that? Their actions said that they were. Their actions, after time passed, proved that their work was good for them and for humanity. So, a true prophet in this case is someone who is willing to do their best, even if they're gonna have doubts in their life. They always gonna follow what's right. Why? Because they are following the good spirits. Once they are praying inside in their dark room, like Jesus said to us to do it, once they are trying to ask for wisdom, even if they are not religious people, because so many true prophets have came to earth, but they were not religious. They were scientists, they were workers, they were perhaps maybe in some cases some presidents, or someone who maybe came to earth to do a good to a large number of society, but maybe he didn't believe in anything, but he was acting morally, and he was using all his knowledge in order to do good to the others. So here we have some of the characteristics of the good prophet, or the good spirit, we can say like this. Let's take the word prophet away, but let's talk about the good spirit. So, and also we have to understand that a true prophet or a good spirit, more than likely, he's gonna be always charitable. He's gonna be kind. He's gonna be nicer to the others. He's not gonna be someone who always thinks about himself and always wants only the good for his country, for his people, for his group. He always thinks about more. He always thinks about peace. He always thinks about equality. That are some characteristics. Remember when I said when we were talking about a job interview? So let's say if I ask in that job interview, let's say if I'm gonna take an IT guy, and I ask about codes to him, how do you do this code for this program and blah blah blah. I'm not an IT person, but I'm just give you an example. If that guy from IT does not reply me properly, I maybe think, hey, maybe he's lying, or maybe he's not that good. Maybe he's not lying, but maybe he's not that good. Or maybe he's just pretending he's too good. So, a good spirit or a good prophet, a good human being, does not pretend, does not have to shout to anyone else, hey, I'm good. His actions, his replies will prove that he's good enough. So, that are some characteristics of the good spirits and of the good prophets also. Here, so here again, once we go back to the false prophets, it's nice to make a here. Um, it's nice to remember that a lot of things that we are seeing this chapter here are Kardec took from chapter 23, which talks about mediumship and spiritual obsession. So if you guys have a bit of interest in obsession, it's nice to see this chapter 23 of the Medium's book. Okay, so a lot of ideas come from there, because a lot of parts that we are talking here about this chapter are related to medium and mediumship. To mediumship. And then again, once we think about false prophets, we have to understand that a lot of them, they come and they shout on the streets. They go, let's say, we shout on the streets. We are talking like if we were 30 years ago. But let's talk about today. So they're gonna go to social medias and they're gonna say, "I'm the one. Follow me. If you do this, your life is gonna be better. You're gonna be happy. This is the best way to get happiness," and so on. We see that all the time in social media. I work with social media. I see that every day. A lot of people, they go there, they use these platforms to say that they are good, that they are the ones who are capable of taking the suffering away. But most of the time, as the text says here on item 10, they are just thinking about their own pride. They are just thinking about their own desires. They are not thinking about the others. And most of the time, all these things which they say they do and they have, they charge a price. Some people, what they do nowadays in social media, they go, they create a page on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, for example, and they start to give free content, free advices. Whenever they get a huge amount of subscribers, then they start to charge for their services. That's a kind of way of monetizing your time on social media and stuff like this. We are not saying that it's wrong for you to monetize or anything like this, but what we are trying to say here is like this: if you say to the others that you are good, that you have their solutions, you know And if just we are not talking here about a psychologist, for example, who studied to be a psychologist, a doctor who studied to be a doctor, or someone maybe who is a coach, and that coach maybe he did some studies and he's going to be charging for their service. We are not talking about this. We are talking about people who says that they had a dream, God spoke with them, they had a vision. Or let's say, once we bring it to our realms here in the spiritist groups, we have the mediums who they say, oh, the spirit of Leon Denis spoke with me and said that nowadays we have to do this. The spirit of Saint Joseph came to me and said, now we have to do this in order to be happy. This kind of people I'm talking about. Some people, they go into the social medias and they start to bring this kind of this these kind of stories to people. And people, like we said it here in the beginning, in the time of crisis, in the time of changing, that we are right now, people, they are in deeply despair. Anything which we say to people, they're going to believe, and that's the problem. And that's when the false prophets, they rise. Why? Because they know that people, they are there, they are suffering, so anything that you give to them, they're going to be happy, and they take advantage of it. But the spirits here, they are very clear that anyone who does that may not face the law of action and reaction here on earth, but they will face that in the spiritual world, and that's for sure. Because anything that we are doing, any lies that we are saying to the others, especially if you are someone who are saying that you are a messenger from good spirits or a messenger from God, or you have the good news and blah blah blah, and if you are lying, any of those, they're gonna have to find their they're gonna find in the spiritual world or even this life their sentence, we can put in this way. I know it's a harsh word, but that's how the spirits are describing here. But of course we have cases also, as we say here, when we're talking about the medium's book, cases of spirits who perhaps they're not lying, but they are so badly tuned with the spirituality because of their thoughts. They don't prepare themselves properly to be in a mediumship meeting, or they only see harsh things on social medias, such as politics and videos who are only exploiting sexuality and stuff like this, and so on. The list is huge. And then they go to the mediumship group, so they believe that they're going to be connecting with a high evolved spirit. No, your connection is 24 hours per day. If you are a medium, be careful, because once you are tuning yourself with any low energy, don't think that once you go to the spirit center, things are going to change automatically. But that's not only for the mediums, that's for us also, because our thought has this power. In the book Thought and Life by the Spirit of Emmanuel through Shuk Xavier, he explained that so beautifully, that our thoughts, they create our reality. So once we have spirits, mediums, who are only channeling themselves with the not really nicest things that we can find nowadays in society, or they don't care or where they are, what they see, what they watch, or what they think, they're not going to be channeling with good spirits. And sometimes a medium like this, as we have here in the Gospel according to Spiritism, item 10, a medium like this is going to be in tune with a lower vibration spirit who will say, I'm St. Peter, I'm John, I'm Plato, I'm Socrates. And then in the medium's book, Kardec explains. Kardec asks, I think, in the medium's book and also in the Spiritist magazine, I don't remember its number, in one of the meetings when the spirits say, oh, I'm Socrates. And then Kardec asks, oh, Socrates, um, nice to have you here. Please be welcome to in our meeting. But can you speak with us in the old Greek from your time? And the spirit says, I do not speak that language anymore. And Kardec starts to think, if he's Socrates or Plato, how come he does not speak that language? And he says, no, here in the spiritual world, we don't use language. But once we think about a spirit, all the knowledge that he have learned and gained throughout reincarnations stays in his hard drive, in his spirits. So that spirit for sure was lying to Kardec, and Kardec understood that. But if Kardec was a medium who was only paying attention in the name Socrates or Plato or Judas or Christ himself, like we have in the medium's book, he would say, "Oh, this high evolved spirit is talking to me. I must be someone special." Actually, guys, just to clarify, it wasn't with Kardec. It was talking with a medium because Kardec, as far as I'm aware, didn't have this kind of mediumship. So please forgive me. Just accept my apologies and accept my correction here. So if the media who was close to Kardec would say, okay, uh, Judas, the spirit of Judas or the spirit of John Dark is talking to me, and he starts to accept everything that spirit says without asking what they are saying does really fit the personality of Socrates and Plato or John Dark or Leon Denis, for example. Nowadays, if you have a mediumship group, in so many mediumship groups back in Brazil, we have mediums who sometimes spirits they come and say, "I'm Abraham Lincoln, I'm Jesus himself, or whatever," and the medium does not question. So here we have to question, because like the Apostle John said, when we said this a few times here, do not believe in all spirits. First, test them to see if they come from God, because otherwise we're gonna be following false prophets here on earth. Certain mediums here, they're gonna be listening to these ideas of these false prophets in the spiritual world, which are spirits who are trying to deceive humanity. André Luiz, I don't remember which book. Thank you very much. Yeah, mischievous spirits. Correct, correct. Yeah. So then we have to understand that these mischievous spirits, André Luiz explains to us that there is a place in the lower zones that some spirits they're so clever, they're so much more clever than us and many people in society that they gather spirits with low vibrations to create a kind of army of spirits to invade mediumship centers, to try to connect with mediums, to try to spread their crazy ideas, their ideas which would go against the basic principles of Christianity. So then we have to wonder if that person comes to me and say, "I'm a prophet," or "I'm a medium," "I'm a priest," or "I'm a preacher," and I come from God. Okay, listen to them. But if what they are saying does not have the basic principles of Christianity, such as humility, such as charity, such as love for one another, such as acceptance to each one of us, to their sexuality, to their way of believing, to their religion, if this idea does not have this, step back and ask yourself. Maybe don't go into a fight and say, "You are a false prophet." No, we're not saying to go there, but step back and ask yourself if that person is claiming that he comes from God, he comes from Christ, Buddha, Krishna, whatever, or he's the missionary of God. Are his words and actions in tune with the qualities that good spirits they must have? Are this person ideas? Let's say that person claims that he's Jesus himself. Like we have Jesus in Brazil. I don't know if you guys know that. We have a guy called Henrique Cristo, which sometimes in Brazil he became some kind of a funny person that we see because many people they don't really pay attention. But we have some people, I think in Russia, Philippines, where they claim they are Jesus themselves incarnated on earth. So if you could go to that person, talk to that person, and if you see that their ideas don't have are not even close to Christ's basic ideas, or if that person has so many bodyguards surround them with guns, or if that person is saying, if you don't follow me, you're gonna go to hell. If you don't follow me, if you are let's say LGBT, if you are a Muslim, or if you are an atheist, you're gonna go to hell. If that person starts to say things like this, step back. Because Christ, when he was on earth, he said we are all equal. He said we are all brothers and sisters. Doesn't matter which kind of sexuality you have. Doesn't matter what you believe or if you don't believe in anything. Because he preached love. He said many times that the only way in order to us to keep progressing was to be doing good to ourselves and the others. Is to be doing, to following love as our main sword, we can put it this way. So this chapter basically, guys, explains that to us, that we have to pay attention to this kind of ideas that we see nowadays, because otherwise we start to follow people who are not really gonna bring us to anywhere. We have here, when the spirits they say here to us that let me see, no one can be perfect. No one can be a perfect channel if they become spiritually obsessed. So if you, let's say, you have a medium or this kind of person saying that they are from God or they are a medium who only tunes with good spirits, that person more than likely is obsessed, and that person cannot do any good to anyone. Because once we start to believe that we are too good, that the others are not okay, the others are not even close to me, you must follow, my ideas are the best, I'm the one, you are lost already. We have seen so many great mediums in spiritism, just to talk about spiritism, because we don't want to mention other philosophies or religions or group of people, because otherwise it looks like we are picking on someone. But in spiritism itself, we see so many mediums which they could be great. Actually, they were great, but throughout their time, they start to tune with lower spirits. But how they start to tune with lower spirits, Vanilla? Have they chosen that? No. They start to use their mediumship in order to gain benefits to them and not to the others. They start to use their mediumship to do what? To start to maybe charging for mediumship sessions or charging for, I don't know, for a speech or something like this. So they used to start to take advantage of their gift given by God, which is mediumship. And once they start to do this, then more than likely they become obsessed. And sometimes we need one of these mediums. Let's say we have a group of 5 mediums, and one of these mediums starts to, you know, to don't really pay attention in his actions, in his ways of thinking, and he's not paying much attention to what he is doing in his daily life. Then once he goes, let's say Thursday night, to the mediumship group, because he's not tuned, he didn't care about what he didn't think about his thoughts, he didn't pay attention to what he was, with what he was feeding himself, let's say in daily life, in social media, when he was talking, he starts to lower his vibration. Then in that mediumship group Thursday night, a spirit came to him and started to say lies to him. Then, because he was a good medium, according to the group himself maybe found strange that he was saying that he was St. Peter, and the new trend now was to go and say to people, you cannot love in this way, you cannot do this and that thing. If you do this, you are not spiritist anymore. An example, okay? And if that group of mediums, that group of that society didn't question that medium, and if that medium didn't question himself, not only the medium is obsessed, but the group itself. And what would start to happen? These mediumship meetings in general, they're closed for only certain members. But more than likely, one of these members, okay, is giving a speech, maybe once per week, once per month, even. So one of that mediums probably are doing some kind of the communication aspect of the spirit center, and that person, let's say, goes on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. like we used to have before, and it starts to say certain things, that maybe certain ideas that he brought from that mediumship. So then he starts to obsess the others. If the others who are watching that that spiritist meeting, that session, uh, if they don't question, the same applies here, guys. If I start to say something which would go against spiritism, guys, please question myself, question my words. You guys can write, or if you guys don't want to write, that's fine. Maybe even ask yourselves. I think what Wanderley says is not really related to spiritism. I think what Wanderley says is not really related to Christianity. Because sometimes people, they are obsessed without knowing they are. That's why you have to be careful. That's why so many times Chico Xavier, once he was doing his actions throughout his life, there was a time that he was doing, I don't remember what was the case, but he had a problem with his neighbor. And Emmanuel came to him and said, Chico, you have to solve this issue with this neighbor. Because otherwise, this issue is creating a kind of a blemish on your chest, and it's interrupting, it's disturbing uh, my mediumship connection with you. So if you don't fix your issues following, that's the big thing, following Christ's idea, it's not only about knocking her door and say, hey, what are you doing? Come here, let's fix this. No, we are not talking this. Emmanuel didn't say this. Emmanuel said, Chico, go there, talk to your neighbor using Christianity as your basis, using love as your basis, and try to accept what she did. So Chico did that eventually. And when I say following Christianity steps, it's basically using love, basically it's trying to forgive her. It's trying to understand that maybe she did something that he didn't like, but maybe she didn't do that because she wants to harm him. It's because she didn't know any better. So it's trying to understand that each one of us, we are in a different time of evolution. That's what Chico did. And Emmanuel said to Chico a few weeks later, because you did this, now you are even a better channel because you did something good. Chico was doing something good already to people, but you did something even which was harder to you to do it. So Chico walked the extra mile forgiving that neighbor. And she did something quite bad to him. You guys can check on YouTube. I'm not gonna say. So what I'm trying to say is like this: if anyone who is trying to talk about a certain philosophy, religion, or idea, if what they are saying is does not really follow the ideas of whom, or of the book, or something like this, be careful. It's like if I come here and talk about spiritism to you guys, and I start to say, from now on, guys, forget about the work of Kardec. Kardec is too old. Kardec is from the 1850s. Why are you gonna be reading that books? That books are even harder to read in English and in Portuguese. In my case, Brazilian Portuguese. I speak Portuguese. So why are you reading these books? No, go and read someone else. Because now this language here is much, much better. If you really have a good sense, a really good critical sense, you're going to step back and say, Wanderley is crazy. I'm not going to say that to him, maybe, but he's crazy. He's saying to me that I should not study Kardec anymore. Or if someone says to you, Christ, Christianity, Jesus' ideas, these ideas are over 2,000 years old, Wanderley. Why do you follow this? Why don't you follow that guy on Instagram? Why don't you follow this new whatever? Guys, Christ's idea, we didn't even reach 10% yet of what he proposed us to learn and to do. He was speaking 2,000 years ago about forgiveness. We still cannot forgive we still cannot forgive people. We cannot forgive our family. We cannot forgive sometimes our parents because of something they did. We cannot forgive someone at work. We cannot forgive someone who maybe was in a project with us and didn't agree of our ideas. We still have problems to forgive. So what I'm trying to say, how come something become old and old fashioned if you are still not able to practice what that ideas, if you still are not able to practice that ideas, do you know what I mean? So the same idea, I go and say, guys, nowadays, um, don't bother with your actions, do whatever you want to do. Life is just one. Enjoy as much as you want. If you want to, achieve pleasure, if you're going to be hurting the others, go and do it. Feel free. You have many reincarnations. You can go reincarnate and fix and fix and fix. No, Spiritism does not say this. So if I say this, if Stephen says this here, be on guard. Because sometimes we could be obsessed. And you guys are listening to us. So if anything which anyone says here to us in the Spiritual Society of Ireland or in any other channel of YouTube or in any other spirit center or in any other religion would go against its principles, be careful. That's why we said before that the true prophet is the one who follow his rational ideas. Basically, he as we were saying, if this guy is saying that he is a disciple of Christ, he's a disciple of Christ's idea. If he's acting completely different, no, there is no match here. So he's using his rationality to doubt. That's what we are trying to say here, guys. So that's basically what we have to pay attention. And here in item 11, we have a beautiful passage of Jeremiah and the false prophets. And in this passage here, um, Jeremiah is saying that, like if God was saying, they are saying to me that I came to them, but I never saw them. They are saying to me that they have dreams with me. Me, I mean God. God is like God saying, okay. And we still have here in this parable, in this passage, they are dreaming with me, but they're not dreaming with me. They are just creating delusions of their own mind. They are saying that they spoke with me, but I never saw them. And then God asks, how long will this imagination to be continuing in their hearts of the prophets that only prophesies lies? So in this passage of Jeremiah, he's talking about this 2,500 years ago, because Jeremiah is before Christ, 2,300 or 400 years ago, 400 for Christ. Jeremiah, at that time, he was asking about these false prophets already, because so many people in the time of the prophet of Jeremiah, of Jesus, they were saying that they were the way and the light, that they knew everything, that people should follow them. And most of them, they were lying. They were trying to get people's attention, especially in that time where they were, because in the Jewish faith, and that time this science and our logical senses weren't well developed. Anything that someone said to the others, we would believe. Imagine if we were ourselves 2,000 and a half years ago, reincarnated in the Middle East, and someone says to me, oh, I had a dream with God, and God said, nowadays, you must go and throw the water, you must throw your coins here, or all the water that you take from the river, instead of drinking, you bring here for me and keep for myself, because I'm the prophet of God. So many people, they said these kind of things, guys. I know nowadays it sounds absurd, but at that time, people, they were much more, um, what's the word? Ingenuous, not ingenuous. They were much more, I forgot the word in English. They were much more simple, we can say in this way. So here in this passage, it's quite beautiful, because here they are saying that these ones, they were never, they never had connection with God, or they were lying, or they were having connection with these spirits that we said. That's why, guys, here, if you guys don't have any questions, I'm gonna go to the end here to conclude that here, as the in the book the Gospel according to Spiritism, in the last item, which is item 11, they say that deluded deluded mediums, can see me now. Deluded mediums, they become deluded because they don't take precautions. That's what basically they are saying. So if you are a medium, or if you are someone here in your daily life, you don't really join any mediums group, but if you don't take precautions of asking if what that person is saying makes sense, then you may become someone who can be easily, lied, or someone who can be quite deluded and believe in anything. And we are now in the time of reason. In this time of reason, we ask. So when someone comes to social media and they say something, so many people nowadays, they go there, hey, but that's not true. Where do you get this information? Because someone said this in that day. How come you say this? And things like this. But so many people, they're still simple. They're still quite naive to believe in what the others say. But we, if we are, whoever is watching here, and who like to study Spiritism, we should try to learn how to distinguish, a good medium or a good prophet or someone who says that they are good, in order to follow, what is really good to follow, and not only follow someone because we are lost or because we don't have anything else to do it. So we have to learn these things, or otherwise, like it says in the last part, therefore, before anything else, learn how to distinguish a good spirit from a bad spirit. Remember what I said before when St. John said, do not believe in all spirits. First, test them to see if they come from God. So, like they are saying here, therefore, before anything else, learn how to distinguish good spirits from bad spirits. So, we have to learn how to learn to using our intellect, asking if their ideas make sense, if they are related to Christianity, believe, check if the ideas are related to Christian principles, or otherwise pay attention. So he keeps going here. So that you, in your turn, may not become a false prophet. Look how strong it is. So he says here to us that we should try to identify good spirits from bad spirits, because otherwise, if we only believe we're going to be spreading these ideas, then we become false prophets. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes, especially once you are learning something new, let's say if you are coming to Spiritism today, and if you are learning Spiritism nowadays, and you start to read certain books, and you read books of certain authors, which perhaps are not the best books. I'm not going to be saying names here, but there are some names in the Spiritism movement which a lot of people, they would agree that they are not real Spiritism. Okay, so if you start to read these books and these ideas, and if you start to spread these ideas without questioning, without reading the basic books of Kardec, right, without going to the basics of Spiritism and Christianity, where can we find the basics of Christianity? It's in the Bible. But of course, if someone says, but the Bible is too difficult, I cannot understand much, then we recommend the Gospel according to Spiritism, because here we have many passages in the Bible which were said supposedly by Jesus, where the spirits, they explain to us the meaning of this parable. So once we start to want to question what we are hearing from the others, once we start to go there and really trying to find the truth and learn even more, we become wiser. Then we take a smaller risk to don't become a false prophet ourselves. Because if we just hear everything which people, they say to us on social media, anywhere that we go, anyone that we meet, and we start to spread these ideas because they sound nice, they sound amazing, they can be lies. Then you put yourself in this position of becoming a false prophet. And that's the best advice I could give it to you guys. Question, hear, but question. Go and search, especially if you're talking about Spiritism, go and search in the works of Kardec. And if you are, especially if you're Brazilian, it's much easier. but we have the books of Chico Xavier and Divaldo Franco in English. Most of them. Go to serious mediums. Do not go to any medium that you may find somewhere, only romances and stuff like this. Be careful. So go to this work, search for yourself, ask, trying to seek the truth, really on the knee, read the Spiritist magazine. Otherwise, we become so easily to be lied by the others. And that's what this chapter is about, guys. So next week, we're going to be starting chapter 22. Stephen will be here, I hope. That says, whom God has joined together, let not men apart. So that's gonna be the part, the topic of next week speech, chapter 22 of the Spirit, the Medium's book. Oh, Gospel according to Spiritism, guys. Sorry. And just a quick reminder here. Thanks, Patrocin. Thanks, Leah, for you guys here. Thanks for everyone who is here, of course. But guys, don't forget that we have our spiritual healing tonight at 8:30 Irish time. So if you guys want to join, just go to our channel, Spiritist Society on YouTube, Spirit Society of Ireland, and that's gonna be open to everyone. Just go to our channel at 8:30 tonight, and we're gonna have the spiritual healing there in English. And also, let me see. Don't forget that we have our studies group every Wednesday at 8 p.m. So if you guys want to join the studies, it's quite simple. You guys have to send an email to spiritismisland@gmail.com, and someone will reply to you and give you the Zoom link, because these meetings are done via Zoom. So you must send an email to us asking that you want to join, and someone else will give you to the Zoom link. Okay, guys, so many people that are still asking us, when are we gonna be opening again? We are trying to do that as soon as possible, but we don't have the time yet for it, and the day and the location yet. So we are trying to work on that. Thanks, Leo. So thanks, guys. It's nice to have you guys here. So what else we have here to say? Yes, guys, please don't forget to be with us every Tuesday, 7:15, every Thursday, 7:15 also, and every Sunday morning at 11:15. We have our studies on Tuesday and Thursday, and we have our spirited meeting, our live on Sunday. So, guys, please join us. Thanks, Lu, also. Thank you, everyone, guys. So let me stop these banners. And that's it for today, I guess. So if you guys don't have any questions, we're gonna be closing. So I'm gonna be inviting everyone to close their eyes if they feel comfortable. Sorry. Let's thank God for the opportunity tonight that we have to be talking about the gospel of Jesus, the work of Allan Kardec. Let's be thankful for technology that we have that is helping us to keep learning about spiritism and many other things. Despite of the bad usage that we still are doing with these new technologies, the spirits teach us that society will learn how to use it properly. All the good technologies and ideas brought by the spirits. So progress will come despite of the others who wants to hold the progress back, despite of wars, despite of crisis, despite of COVID or any other future illness, progress will come. And peace and love will come also on earth, because that's what Jesus promised to us. and the good spirits are supporting us. But nowadays, it's not Jesus who is asking us to go to him. No, Jesus is asking us to become better, to help the others, to spread love, to spread good actions. Even in the times of difficult, Jesus is asking us to try to be honest, trying to be kind, and try to be act in the best way possible to ourselves and the others. We know the times are difficult, but let's not forget, we are not alone. But in order to receive the help of the good spirits, we must open our minds and our hearts and do our part, do our work. Thank God, and so be it. Okay, guys, so I see you guys on Thursday. Steven won't be here on Thursday also, so it's gonna be myself. Thank you, everyone. Patrocinio, Lea, Lu. Thank you guys for being here with us tonight. Thank you, guys from Kardec Radio, guys from America, guys from Brazil, from Ireland. That's it. Enjoy the rest of the day or the rest of the night, something like this. Guys, take care. Bye.